We have just docked back into Australia and we are going to start changing things at Tech Yes City. We're going to start getting some used PC builds going, as well as talking about the used market, what has changed in the last 4 months here, because being in Japan, there wasn't really a healthy market for used PC gaming in terms of flipping PCs. And so when that happens, I'm kind of stockpiling parts and then I'm building up boxes that I'm shipping back to Australia to get parts back here, because the market is a lot healthier here, at least before when I left. But you may also notice in the background there, we are bringing back the red background because we need some fire here at Tech Yes City. We're also eating kimchi, that's red, and we also have a new pair of red sunglasses bringing back the fire, because when I brought out the previous pair of sunglasses recently, people were just complaining about how ridiculous they looked. So I decided to go one up and get an even more ridiculous pair of sunnies, and also give Dadman those previous pair of sunglasses, which he's enjoying a lot. But anyhow guys, we got here motherboards from AliExpress. I think right now AliExpress prices on some things are just ridiculously cheap. You guys have wanted me to take a look at more budget, value-oriented parts, and I think these motherboards have come down to prices that make them very attractive. So we will be taking a look at some budget motherboards. But in the meantime, I've also been checking out the used market very quickly, and what I'm finding is there are some really good deals out there, mainly on things not related to GPUs, even though I found a quick graphics card deal while I was looking this afternoon. But anyhow, we've got to hit the Yesmobile because it's getting a little bit late in the afternoon, and I have put down an order for a CPU. You guys have wanted to see the Ryzen 7 7700X versus the 9700X, which AMD is sending that one over, but I've got to go fetch a 7700X off the used market. But then there's a question that comes up, and that's, why did you never get a 7700X? And the truth there is, I think I just never got sampled one, and I never bought one in the history of Tech Yes City. So I guess there's a first for everything. But in the meantime, we have been cleaning up this studio here, repainting walls, cleaning out so much rubbish as well. I had about 10 boxes just full of rubbish when I got back here, and it was just absolutely filthy. I think I was in a rush to get to Japan, and I just left this place in a complete mess. So I've just been absolutely going at it in the last few days. Do let us know what you think of that new red wall there. That me and Dadman did a job on that and just painted that a fresh new fire energy color. Let's go hit the Tech Yesmobile, go pick up a couple of deals, and then we'll talk about the used market and what's been happening in the last few months, because man, coming back here, it's really crazy, at least my first impressions. But let's talk about that right after today's video sponsor.
If you want to get rid of this annoying activate Windows message, then today's video sponsor SCD Keys has you covered for as little as $15 US. After you enter that coupon code BFTYC, you can cop yourself a legit single end user license today. Also works for Windows 11 Pro too. Links in description below.
Put the car on drive, another lonely night, don't know what to do.
So we ended up just picking up the 7700X, the Ryzen 7. Now we got this off Facebook Marketplace for $350 Aussie. So it's really not the best deal at all, but it's still saving a few hundred, but it's still saving over $100 if I were to go to a retailer and get it. So always the used market providing the value. But the reason I'm getting this is because AMD is sending out that Ryzen 7 9700X, and I want to give it a fair comparison, because I was a little bit, well, actually really confused. When I was in Japan, I got sampled the Ryzen 5 9600X, and I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was worthy of being thrown under the bus like the majority of people have done out there when they reviewed it. I thought the 9600X had some merit. It was just the price wasn't great, especially in the current economic environment. That was basically the gist of my review. But then I'm seeing the 7700X reviews from others, as well as the 9950X, which AMD are sending over both those CPUs, and I'm really keen to check them out to see what they can do, and especially look at more so the merits of those CPUs and what they can do better over the previous generation
rather than just completely throwing them under the bus. And of course, you guys want to see that Windows testing as well. We're testing out Windows 10, 11, and both those updates within Windows 11 and seeing what kind of performance we can get. But right now, we've actually also got to go pick up a monitor arm, which if we were to get a triple monitor arm from the stores, I think it's like over 150 Aussie dollars. And then someone on Facebook selling one for 80. I tried to make them budge, but they're like, I'm just firm on the price. And I'm thinking, well, it's half price basically anyway. And I need one to get the studio set up and working fine as well. Because actually some really good news was Aorus, after I did the review on their 32-inch monitor, they basically said, you can keep that, Brian. And I'm like, whoa, really? So that was awesome news with that monitor, but I had to bring it back from Japan, which ended up being a weird story in its own, which we might as well quickly tell you guys because I've got to wait a few minutes anyway before the guy gets home with the monitor stands. And basically what happened was I got it with oversized luggage because if you bring it in normal luggage, it's going to get bashed around on the airplane. So I brought it in oversized luggage, but the problem was when I got back to Australia, the luggage did not come out of baggage for literally like over an hour and a half. And I started asking questions because I checked some of the other oversized luggage bag tags and they were on the flight that I was on and they got off. And so the guy's like there and he's like, oh mate, we'll just check. And it was really slow. I was there for about half an hour. Like, I'm just trying to find out where my package was. I asked him, look, is it a possibility it got stolen? And he's like, oh, mate, sometimes it can take up to 2 hours. And I'm like, well, the other stuff on the flight is off and I've checked those bag tags. So why is it just my package that's not turning up? So anyway, I complained and I waited about half an hour and nothing came out. And then I went back to the guy. I'm like, look, do things usually get stolen? Like oversized luggage items, do they usually go missing? And he's like, no, they don't usually go missing. And then I just said, well, man, if this one's stolen, I would hate to put in a massive insurance claim. It's just going to be a massive headache for me, massive headache for you guys. And then miraculously, after I said that, like literally 30 seconds later, the unit just comes out up the belt and out the oversized luggage port. So if you come to Australia, there's kind of some street smart politics you got to indulge in sometimes. And that seems to be something that we had to indulge in at the airport. But anyhow, what we're doing is we're going to be using 2 used monitors on the side of that monitor as well, having like a triple monitor surround setup, and we need that monitor arm for it. Hopefully it holds up on a budget. But yeah, let's go pick this thing up and then get back to the studio and talk about the used market and what I've been seeing in terms of prices on gaming PCs, as well as prices on graphics cards. I think they're almost like 2 different entities now in terms of deals hunting.
Okay, so we are back now with the triple monitor arm as well. So we got to mount some monitors to this thing, but right now, we're going to talk about deals and the marketplace because what I'm seeing really is selective bargains. And it's to the point where I've never seen anything like this actually. And I've just checked out deals before. And in fact, I put an offer down on 300 Aussie dollars on a 3060 Ti, which decent deal. The guy said yes. So I go pick that up maybe tomorrow or the next day. So GPU prices seem okay, but outside of that 3060 Ti, there really didn't seem like there was any good deals on 3070s, 3080s, or even AMD RX 6000 series cards. So the GPU market seems like it's up and down, but then we look at the used CPU market and that's healthier than ever. In fact, if we look at new CPU prices, used CPU prices, they're really good right now. And in fact, if you're going shopping around, it's going to sound a little bit weird, but I was actually talking to a retailer and they were giving me some news on the whole Intel thing. And they're actually saying that Intel CPUs are coming back, and it's mainly the i9s, the 13900K in particular, also some 14900Ks. They're actually getting returned, they are faulty, and that's clearly indicating, since it's the i9s over a lot of the other SKUs, it's mainly coming back. It's more of a voltage issue since those are really aggressively clocked out of the box. So that problem has really created this stigma on Intel CPUs at the moment where people are then afraid to buy any kind of Intel CPU And also I was putting up a PC for sale with an Intel CPU in it. And that's literally a question that got asked in the chat on that thread. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm gonna be tuning the voltage down on this thing. But coming back to it, if you are a bit adventurous and you know how to tune these CPUs down to more safe voltages, you could probably pick up a real good bargain on the used market with an Intel CPU right now. But I'm also seeing gaming PCs. People are desperate to sell whole gaming systems too. So it's a really rough market if you are a seller, at least in Australia and at least from what I'm seeing locally here. And it's changed for the worse if you're a seller in the last 4 months. So really crazy times that we're going into. And I've said this in previous finance videos that we've done here to give you guys the lowdown. In Australia, they were just lending out money to people that they shouldn't have been lending money out to. Not only that, Reserve Bank of Australia dropped the interest rates at the end of 2020 to artificially low rates that should have never have come down that far, meaning money was a lot cheaper than it should have been, especially in Australia. And not only that, I've got some friends at banks and they were telling me the laws got relaxed way more than they should have. And they were lending money to people that they shouldn't have been lending to. And we referenced this with an example when I was in a PC shop with my friend. There was this lady that came in and just bragged about how she only had started a job recently with 3 pay slips to her name and got a $500,000 mortgage. So all that now that interest rates have come up in Australia, we mainly have like fixed interest rates that end pretty quickly. It goes to variable after a couple of years. A lot of people actually just jump on variable interest rate loans straight away because they get a cheaper rate. But as those rates come up, the pain starts to sink in on these big mortgages. So that pain is then flowing through to luxury items like PC parts, where the people who borrowed money that definitely shouldn't have been borrowing that money are now facing the consequences, and they're going to have to sell their stuff to pay back loans, or if they can't pay back their loans, the bank just forecloses and takes all their stuff. So in other words, if you've saved a bit of cash, I think you're going to be getting good deals on a lot of different things right now, not just tech products, but also other things too. And I'm keeping my eyes out because recently I just got back to Australia. You guys may notice we got a little bit of a different look here on the camera. I saw an absolute bargain on a Panasonic Lumix full frame camera that I just couldn't refuse. And so I'm literally gonna sell my Sony camera and get money back my way and change over to a Panasonic camera, which I've always wanted to change over to a full frame Panasonic camera. So, but what we're seeing right now is just things are flowing in the wrong direction in terms of a healthy economy where we got high inflation, and that just keeps going up. Where I was at the supermarket and I noticed there's like this favorite chocolate that I got before I left for Japan. I come back 4 months later and that same chocolate has gone up 25% in 4 months. So I don't know, these inflation figures that they're saying that inflation's coming down, I'm definitely not seeing it in terms of grocery items and also other things that you need in your day-to-day life. And I mean, sure, if we're measuring inflation with things like TVs and other items that are luxury goods and putting them into the basket and saying, hey, look, these things are coming down, but then grocery prices are going up, the things that people need to live, and saying, well, the broad-based inflation is going down, then I think it's really disingenuous to measure inflation that way when we should have even 2 different measurements of inflation, and that is things that people have to survive, and then a luxury inflation gauge. But I mean, if central banks and governments did this, then they probably couldn't keep ripping off the public, could they? So back to the land of tech and prices, I'm definitely seeing things will keep coming down a little bit, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting back to looking for some of these real bargain PCs that are either broken or something's wrong or they're really dirty. I feel like a lot more of those deals are going to come up very soon. But also I just wanted to make a video today to tell you guys I'm still here, and the reason it took me so long to make another video was not only did I have to get back from Australia and get back to the studio here and like literally do like a massive cleanup and clean the whole place tip to toe, but also there was some personal news as well. I had to do something else that is very personal. It does have to do with PC parts, but I just don't know if I'm able to tell the public about it, especially in a YouTube video, because it's very sad and it's very personal to me. It's got to do with someone that I dealt with in PC parts They're no longer here anymore. And it's just a really sad story. And, you know, you get to know people who are relatives of them and other things happen. And it's really sad news on that front. Though that aside, guys, it's time to get back. Bring in the energy. And if you're having a crap time where you are in the world right now, then hopefully the Tech Yes content is going to bring a smile to your face wherever you are. And yeah, we got a lot to dig into, both used and new, on this channel. So stay tuned. Videos are coming out. I just thought I'd give you guys a bit of an update on the market right now. It's definitely looking like a buyer's market more than it's ever been. Though on that note, if you guys are just itching, you're scratching, and you want to see a particular piece of content on this channel here at Tech Yes City, be sure to drop it down below and I'll try and entertain it, especially if it gets enough upvotes. With all that aside, welcome back to Australia. Welcome back to the Aussie content. And it's going to be hitting your sub boxes pretty hard. So hope you enjoy. And with all that aside, I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.